At least it's off the roof of your mouth and not your ass.
I'd rather it be off my ass, dude. I'd rather it be off my ass if I'm being honest with you.
Do I taste like ass today? I don't know. Everything I eat
just the optics though, somebody cutting into the top of my mouth and taking I don't know, taking the skin off of it, and I don't know. But anyways, you're not going to think about it for a couple more weeks because it's not going to be for a couple more weeks. So I think I go February 4th. So there'll be inevitably there's going to be 5 or 6 days there where I'm not at work in the beginning of February for sure. You know, so and then it's probably a good time to drop both habits, I guess, because I ain't going to be able to do Zen during that time either. I'm not going to be able to do much of anything. I remember when I had my jaw wired shut, you know, and there was a lot of pauses that could have came from that, none of which I put in place, like quitting drugs and like ecstasy, things like that. Eating, I lost a lot of weight. I could have kept doing that too, you know. So, but it's definitely the perfect time to do it. So, you know. But like I said, I mean, it's not as expected. I went in there figuring that would be the best case scenario. So, you know, I mean, it is what it is. I knew it was going to have to happen at some point. I just didn't know it was going to have to happen now. So, all right. So the services, in addition to the training tomorrow, not that it's going to matter to you guys because, you know, well, Andrew, it might matter. It's going to matter to you because I'll need you to finish up the end of it. I got to go over to the services for that woman at the office there that passed away. Those are at noontime. So I'm gonna go over there. Okay. We have a couple newer people that have started at the beginning of the week. Okay. They're also going to be out at a couple different events. I'll get the information to you guys if they're going to be at events that you're going to be at over the weekend. I'll stop down at a couple of those events too. I know that one of them is going to be at Nell's for a little bit. Another one's going to be at that Shrewsbury one, Cole, that I have you at. Okay. So I know that for sure. And then Friday, I can't remember exactly, but one of them is at Ace Duncan, I believe, with you, Seth. I think you're there that day, Friday, I believe, but I may be wrong. Okay, so let me just send out one more text just to let anybody know that wants to join. If not, we'll see them tomorrow. Okay, so guys, I just wanted to go through a couple things. We had done some training up there in Altoona yesterday, and I was sort of disturbed.
You don't hear me?
Yeah.
Oh man, I want to scream, dude. This fucking computer sucks ass.
No, I stopped there because I was texting out just one last text message.
Sorry.
So so I was kind of disturbed by a lot of the things that I heard from employees that have been here for a while and from people that are newer as well. I mean, there was almost no rebuttaling. I mean, just almost none. And the rebuttals that were happening it was just kind of weird. You know, it wasn't. They definitely didn't come from me. That's for sure. You know, and it was definitely not. They were bizarre. You know, and it got me thinking. I know one thing that is true for most people at events. There's two things that are true. Number one, for most people at events, they're setting, you know, very difficult quality leads that are not, you know, very sound or good. That's a problem that's happening for a lot of people. Okay. And the second thing is I don't hear a ton of rebuttaling out there from people. And I get it. It's different than canvassing. When it comes to rebuttaling, it's different than canvassing. You're in public. There's other people around. And when the customer's saying no is different. You're used to, I'll tell you what, though, it's going to be tough. Whenever we do get back to canvassing, like we're going to be soft as hell, and we're going to have to get over that because I mean that's going to be a repercussion of this for sure. But I think that when we're at events, it's just different. It's a different environment than being in front of the customer's house and having constant objections from the customer that sort of throw us into rebuttal right away. I mean, if we didn't rebuttal people in canvassing, then we would never get one lead. You know what I'm saying? So there is a difference there that I think causes people to undercompensate with rebuttals. And that's a problem that I feel like we're having. Listening to the people up in Altoona, and some people down here. It's a problem that I know that we're having. The other thing too that's happening too is when people are rebuttaling is true. They're not going off the scripted rebuttals, which by the way, I'm fine with, but they're not even going off of anything good. So they're like repeating themselves over and over again, like the free quote's good for a full year. Well, that we lock in the quote good for a full year. And it's just, it's repetitive. And look, I'm fine with repetition. I'm fine with script. Honestly, I'll say this is a weird thing. You'll never hear me say this again. Well, unless you go back and watch the YouTube video, because it is on YouTube now, because Kyle needs to see it and he's at an event tomorrow morning. I don't mind if you don't do scripted rebuttals here. Like you can, with events, you can like pseudo script your rebuttals and they can come out fine. And the reason why I say that, like, that's something I'm very much against. I'm very much against like making up your own stuff or whatever, but you can shorten these rebuttals too. Like not one thing that we know is rebuttals are not going to fit every single situation. And if somebody says like, I don't know if I'll be interested right now, you really shouldn't get into some super long, serious, not interested rebuttal. It should be a very basic. Yeah, no, of course, I wouldn't expect it to be it, but the quote's good for a full year and then keep going, right? You don't have to go by, specific. Like I heard a lot of people when I would say not interested responding with, well, when you do win, this will give us the necessary information to work on your home. Even with that rebuttal there, right? That's for a very specific thing. And I get, someone's going to say to me, yeah, well, it says not interested too. Yeah, but it's meant to be changed for not interested. If think about it, if I say not interested, logic would tell me a good response would not be, well, when you do win, this will give us the information necessary to work on your home. Okay, just straight up like that, right? I need to have some sort of response that's going to cater to their not interested. That doesn't specifically cater to their not interested, right? All right, that's good for, well, no, we'll just do the contest. Or no, I'll just put my name in there, but I don't want to buy anything right now. Then that's good because it propels you into the next part. The emphasis, though, guys, is not on the, well, when you do win. I mean, that's there, but that's really meant to get you into, even if you don't win, the quote's good for an entire year. So when you're ready, you have all the necessary information set aside, right? Well, so when you're ready, you have a lower guaranteed price locked in, okay? Good for one full year. Something like that. It's meant to propel you into that second part. So if someone just says not interested to me, then I'm probably going to say just the second part to them. I'm probably not going to say, and well, when you do win, because I sound like I'm answering a question that or an objection that they didn't give me, right? Now, part of the problem that I see, right? I went to a couple events in Altoona like last week, and then I went and watched those people pitch this week. And the problem that I see too is that the people are doing these rebuttals in the office and they think that they're decent and stuff like that. They're not doing any of them out of the office. So they just, that's tough too. When you're not practicing your objections, your rebuttals at the shows, it's difficult to remember what you want to say, right? But the best thing I could say, guys, is logic and simplicity is the best answer, right? So for example, if someone says to me, look, I don't have any money right now, through the windows. I mean, 10 windows is a lot. I'm not going to do that. Pretty specific thing. Oh yeah, sir, absolutely. I wouldn't expect you to do all 10 windows even right now. Look, you don't have to do any windows. When we come out, we're just going to check to see what kind of problems and inefficiencies are in the windows. We're going to tell you which ones are the worst and which ones are the best, and then we'll leave you with a free price quote. So that way, when you are ready to do something, you have a plan for when you're ready, right? Something like that. Okay, you're addressing their problem of, well, I don't have money right now. 10 windows is going to cost me a lot of money. Okay. I'm not going to do this right now. You're addressing those objections through that rebuttal, right? Now what you're doing is, and again, something that I'm very much against in canvassing. Okay. But there's a solid reason why I'm not against it in events is I'm changing a rebuttal that we have. I'm taking a rebuttal that we have. Okay. Some windows are going to be costing you more than others. Okay. That one, I'm going to take that and I'm sort of changing it. I'm making it shorter. I'm crafting it more for that event because it's a quicker transaction, right? So I'm sort of taking that and I'm warping that a little bit, right? And I'm comfortable with people doing that as long as A, they're not repeating themselves, and B, it makes sense what they're saying, right? That's the problem, is that A, people are not doing it. B, when people do it, they're repeating themselves a lot. And C, a lot of times it doesn't make sense for what the customer's saying, right? We got to, You don't want to be arguing with people at an event. You don't have to argue with them. These should take place within your conversation. So think about it. Okay. No, look, yeah, man, I'm not going to be doing windows for a while. I know you guys, windows are expensive. Okay. I don't want to argue with that person. I'm not going to go, no, they're not expensive. I'll say, okay, well, you haven't gotten a quote from us before, right, sir? No, I haven't. I just heard that they're not cheap. Yeah, well, they're very high quality windows, sir. But really, until you get a quote, you really wouldn't know what your specific window would cost. Everything we built is custom built. Everything we make is custom built. Okay, so every price is different. Now, what I encourage you to do, sir, is not to purchase the windows. Just take a look. Have somebody come out, check your windows, leave you with a free price quote. It's good for an entire year. So even if you're not ready now, you have the information for when you are ready. Okay, or even if you want to get other quotes to see what would fit best for you, you have the information necessary for when you are ready. Okay, something like that. And then transition back to the script. Now, my transition is always what's going to give me, that's what's always going to hook the customer in, right? So the second issue that I see from people, well, the first issue, right, if you had problem 1 and then A, B, and C, right? And again, people should probably take a notebook because our numbers are not great right now for a lot of people, okay? And when I show you the numbers for a couple months ago versus now, you're gonna shit. I mean, you're gonna go, wow, what am I doing wrong right now, right? So I would definitely take some notes, and I'll take some notes too as we go. Okay, so number 1, rebuttals is the issue. Okay, number A or letter A would be not using them, repeating ourselves, and not being relevant to the situation. Okay. And the solution there is A, learn all rebuttals, okay, over time. Even in initial training, like, I don't know, I guess Allison, you're the only one really in this group that has been in training more recently, right? In initial training, we don't have you learn all the rebuttals, guys, even canvassing, because it would take so long to do that, because there's pages upon pages of them, right? So we say, okay, well, these are the most important ones. Learn these first, okay, then learn the other ones later on. But the intent definitely for everybody, and no doubt, there's a lot of people. Look, I don't know if I could do all 3 pages of canvassing rebuttals or whatever it is perfectly. I don't think anybody could perfectly, okay? But over time, that's information that we definitely want to learn, okay? Because we're going to find things that fit all situations that we run into out there, all right? So learn all rebuttals would be step 1 there, okay? No, step 2 would be fit the rebuttals to the customer's objections. Essentially makes sense, okay? And then again, getting into problem 2 would be transitions. I hear a lot of people out there not transitioning at all. It's just rebuttal, if they rebuttal, and then leave it, okay? I hear a lot of "are you sure's" out there. A lot of "okay, are you sure?" Okay, or it really is a free quote. Are you sure it's something that we can't get done for you? All right, a lot of will call you back later, stuff like that. Okay, a lot of that kind of stuff, which will kill your appointments very, very quickly. Okay, and so again, we got to think as we have to imagine. All right, well, if a couple months ago we were in certain spotty things, let me just pull up these numbers real quick. Grab my mouse off of my other computer. I scared my kid when I got home. I got home and she was crying instantly about, I don't know, not being able to talk to her friend on the iPad or something like that, through that little kid's messenger app or something. And I said, oh yeah, well, I have to get the top of my mouth cut off and put it in the front of my mouth. She's like, what? But so maybe I shouldn't have done that, but she got the point, definitely. Problems are only as big as we make them. Right? Okay, so I'm pulling this up right now. I'm going to show you guys this. And again, we all have the ability to look at this, guys, right? So all of us have the ability to get in here and look at these numbers and whatnot and see what's up too. Okay, so let me just wait for this thing to change here. And then we'll click over to events from Colin. Andrew, I double texted you because I figured that you would be one of the only people to get my name reference. So I figured that that's why I wanted to make sure that you were here on time. So
All good.
you get it, right? In honor of Kefefe. Maybe the most political thing that I've ever done in a meeting with you guys. I couldn't help myself. Come on, you thing. This is ridiculous. Of course, now it's going to do this. It's going to take forever to load. So when this, okay, there we go. Complain about it, I guess, and then it works. Fucking thing is going to take forever to load. It's going to just take a long time. Figure if I complain about it until it loads, and it will go quicker. There we go. All right, so this is August back of last year. Okay, this is the month of August of last year. All right, and you can see issues that different people are having and whatnot, and you can see problems that can affect. Like for example, if I look at YB here, he's got 48 set appointments. Okay, 16 issued. Well, definitely a cancellation rate issue for sure. Okay, for sure, cancellation rate issue. Okay, Cole, you only had 14 leads. Okay, that caused you to not be able to have a lot of demos. You had a good issue rate. Okay, but just not a lot of demos for that. John, your cancellation rate was rough, really rough, right? 38 set and 8 issued. Kyle had 42 set, 14 issued. Okay, again, the issue rate problem. Mo 17 set and only 6 issued. So issue rate definitely, but lead amount too was rough. Look at me, All-Star there, 100% issue rate, 100% issue rate right there. That's pretty good. You have to admit that's a pretty good number right there. My lead amount was down a little bit, but my issue rate was on point. Phil had 19 set appointments, so again, a lower lead amount, 7 issued. So we're going through an issue here with cancellation rate. Seth 50 set, 21 issued, right? I mean, this was when it was getting to the point of outrageous, and we were starting to notice it. Okay, we're just starting out gripping. We're getting grip of what we're doing there. All right, then we look at how numbers changed to the next month, and this is always a fun exercise, guys, for your own numbers to do. I don't suggest getting yourself fixated on what other people are doing, other people's numbers and whatnot. But definitely to go in there and check out your own stuff and whatnot can be important. And I think there's been a little bit of a problem with super fixation on other people's stuff. Definitely a conversation that I've had with a couple people over the last couple of days has been not focusing on what other people are doing so much and focusing more on what you can do to improve yourself. Man, if this is going to do this, then this is going to be a lot longer than an hour. This is kind of crazy right now. My internet speed is good too. It says so. While this is loading, we can kind of go through stuff too. Okay, so my concern, the reason why I'm doing this, guys, is because we get those grocery stores coming up, right? Okay, we change up here. So the next month, 44. I'll remember where I was at too. 44 leads. Okay, 18 issued, a little bit better of an issue rate. Okay, definitely more leads for Jones. YB's leads went down a little bit, but his issue rate went up. Definitely okay. Cole's lead amount went up significantly, and issue rate went up as well. John, your issue rate went up. It was still a little bit low, but it went up, and your lead amount went up too. Okay, Kyle's lead amount went up, but in his issue rate went up as well. Mo, your lead amount definitely had gone up by a significant amount. Your issue rate still remained pretty low. Phil's lead amount went down. I think that's when he was off for like a lot of that month. Seth, your lead amount went up significantly. Your issue rate was not good. 30 issued out of 88. Carson set 28, 14 issued, not terrible for what we were going for at the time. Okay. Now, the thing I want to point out here, guys, is that, not much change here. Here's what you're going to see out of all these months. Okay. Is as leads issue, your cancellation rate goes down. So if we were to look back at this on October 15th of last year, then we would have been like, oh shit, these cancellation rates are a lot worse than they are even now when we're looking at it. Okay. We would have definitely noticed that. Okay. Then we get to the month that we started doing Hershey. Okay. This is the Hershey month that we had. Okay. Keep in mind that month was probably the Carnes month. Okay. Now we get into the Hershey month here. We start doing Hershey during the Halloween, and we all know the madness that came from that in a good way. Okay. It was significant. It was interesting to see, and it's going to be interesting to see how the numbers change there. Okay. So Jones, 57 leads, okay, 20 issued. That's the problem. Also a bad demo rate too. I haven't been focusing on that, and I'll explain why in a second. YB 46 leads, okay, so went back up there. Okay, issue rate was better than I have been in the past, but it wasn't great. Cole, lead amount stayed consistent. Okay, issued half of those, which is pretty good. John, your issue rate got better there in that month, up to about 50%, close to it. Same thing with Kyle. Mo, your lead amount had stayed consistent. Okay, issue rate did go down a little bit. Phil's lead amount obviously went up from before, but his issue rate was terrible, 11 out of 40. Seth, your issue rate was real bad. It was 116 leads. A lot of stuff going into the system, which eventually does help out. And it's it's good to get a lot of stuff in, guys. Just obviously good to have it run too. So you got to balance that. The issue rate was a tough thing. Carson had 12 and 5 ran, so issue rate not great there, lead amount not great there, but he was also doing other things too. Okay, so I just want to point that stuff out, guys. All right, then we start to see, now keep in mind that we weren't calling those leads in or anything like that. Okay, that was not something that we were doing at the time. All right, I think it was around, this is the tough part about this, I think it was around mid-November that we started calling them in, maybe late October. But at places like Hershey, we never called them in because the insanity of calling in at a place like Hershey was, we did some, but it was nearly impossible to do. We couldn't call a significant amount of those leads in because of the fact that, so it was probably mid-October that we started calling them in from other events. Okay. Now it's expected for our lead amount to go down once Hershey ends, right? Because we sort of started Hershey again in December, but it was in a different way. And we all know that way was obviously not as effective as the, or I guess late November, as it was with the Halloween thing, because the pitch was different. The population that was going there there was less people going there. Quite frankly, it was colder. There was a lot of differences there, definitely in numbers. Okay. So Jones' lead amount goes down significantly. YB stays relatively the same within a couple. Okay. Jones' issue rate's still good. YB's issue rate's a little bit better too, compared to what it had been. Cole, your issue rate actually went down, but your lead amount stayed consistent to what it was. John, your issue rate went up, but your lead amount did wane a little bit. Okay. Kyle's issue rate went up. His lead amount did wane. Nearly all of your leads issued Mo. Okay. Phil's issue rate did go up. Seth, your issue rate did go up. I mean, you got 50 leads here and 28 of them go through, right? So we're doing different events. Okay. We're doing leg up farms. We're doing grocery stores like that. Some other smaller grocery stores, but we're not doing Hershey and we're not doing Carnes. Those are the two things that we're not doing that month. Okay. And you can see that Altoona stayed relatively consistent. 14 set, 10 issue. Okay. 21 set, 9 issue, which was not fantastic. Okay. But the issue rate definitely went up there. Okay. As we had time to call the leads in, there wasn't any kind of Hershey thing that was not allowing us to call the leads in. Right. Okay. We're almost done. We're in the home stretch here with this stuff. So now December, we're back in, the numbers are expected to go down a little bit in months like December. Okay. But we are back in Hershey to some degree. Okay. Is it like the October thing? No, of course not. But it's a consistent couple leads a day for each person. It's working out for the most part. Okay. We do some smaller grocery stores, matzo bars, places like that. All right. And we're still calling the leads in at this point and whatnot too on a consistent basis. Okay. Jones' issue rate goes down significantly. Okay. In addition, if you look at his call log, I think he had four leads called in that month. 4 leads were called in. The rest of them were not called in. His issue rate goes down significantly. Okay. Allison, your issue rate started off rough. It did get better as we went on to this next month here. YB's issue rate goes down significantly. Well, it goes down a little bit. Okay. Under 50%. All right. Cole's issue rate remains pretty consistent there. Okay. John, your issue rate goes down significantly. Obviously, you're out for a portion of the month too. Okay, but it doesn't get better. That's for sure. Kyle's issue rate goes down significantly. Okay. Mo's issue rate goes down significantly. Okay, Phil's issue rate goes down significantly. Seth, your issue rate really remains it goes down a little bit at least, because it goes down from about 50% to a little bit less than that, probably about 25-30% then. Okay. You can see where Carson's issue rate went. Okay. All right. And now again, if you look at the trend, guys, less leads called in by every person, even though we're not at crazy busy events and stuff like that. What I can guarantee you though, and what we see from this and what I've heard from people's mouths is, well, I want to focus on quality. That's why my lead amount went down. Well, this was the month that we set the least amount of leads in. So if our intent was to focus on quality, then we failed drastically on focusing on quality by setting less appointments, right? And that's the thing I want to bring attention to. Less appointments does not mean higher quality appointments, and that's for sure. Almost nobody here hit their record for amount. I don't think anybody hit their record for amount of appointments set. Okay. But almost everybody had a significant dip in issue rate. Okay. A pretty significant dip in issue rate. Right. All right. So it brings me to this month here. And there's an important reason why I'm bringing this month up. And if my dog keeps barking, then I'm going to go and hold her mouth shut. She doesn't like that very much. She tries to bite me all the time, and I grab her mouth. She's a funny dog, and the sweetest dog in the world. She's a little yapper though. Okay. All right. So Jones lead amounts down. Issue rate is well, it's actually lead amounts consistent with the previous month. Issue rate is kind of in the same place that it was that previous month. Okay. Allison, your issue rate definitely went up. Okay. We talked about that. I think there's probably more leads there that are available, but your issue rate's very, very good. Okay. YB's issue rate is in the tanks. Cole's issue rate is not as good as it has been in the past. Okay. John, same thing with your issue rate. Now, some of these leads could have been set, by the way, too, guys, today. So that does take place in this too. This is part of it too. Kyle's issue rate's a little bit rough. Mo, your lead amount's down, okay, significantly. Your issue rate's fine, but your lead amount's down significantly. Same thing with Phil. Okay, Seth, your issue rate is actually decent here as well. You got 14 out of 34. All things considering, okay, the demo rate's what's suffering right now, okay? All right, guys, so again, the thing that I want to bring up, the thing I want to point out is that there's no common denominator between writing less leads and having a higher quality, within reason, having a higher quality sit rate. Okay. Now, don't get me wrong. Yeah, clearly, if you are out there and you're only setting the leads that are inviting themselves to set, that are saying, sure, sounds good, sign me up, let's do it. Well, obviously, those are going to have a higher set rate or sit rate, because they're inviting themselves to they're doing the job for us. Okay. We're not rebuttaling them at all or anything like that. So of course there can be a correlation if someone's numbers are way, way low. But what it shows, guys, is no matter what, if we're not doing the system properly, then there's no correlation whatsoever between good appointments and number of appointments. Not at all. If we're not doing the system correctly. So if you're doing the system correctly, okay, and you're succeeding in that, all right, you're getting your leads confirmed, you're doing fine with that and whatnot, okay, and you're setting a shitload of leads, you're going to have more percentage of them run than if you're writing less and still doing the system the wrong way, right? If I'm writing less appointments, but I'm also ignoring the two-party thing, okay, things like that, then I'm going to have a higher cancellation rate. I'm going to have, if let's say, for example, I'm setting my own appointments and I'm setting them pretty far out and I'm not getting next days done and stuff like that. Okay. That's one of the issues that's going to be experienced there, is I'm not going to have a lot of leads, and I'm also not going to have a good sit rate. Okay. Or issue rate. All right. So those are things, guys, that got to be focused on. The reason why we're having this conversation is because we're about to get into these grocery stores and we're about to get into a significant amount of them. And yeah, I have a little bit of fear of where we sort of go with this. Okay. So again, transitions are important. Number one, for setting leads. Okay. And also too, for quality. They are important for quality, which I'll get to in a second. Okay. Number three that I want to put down here in big letters is amount of leads does not at all reflect quality. Okay. And again, like I said, of course, if you go out there and let's say you do the system the right way, minus rebuttaling and stuff like that, well, then yeah, obviously you're going to write a couple good quality appointments, okay, because you're doing everything else right. But you're just going to have a small amount. But usually when people are not doing the system the right way, and I don't just mean my script. I'm not being like a script Nazi. I'm not saying, well, oh, if you don't do it exactly the way that I say to do it, then this is no. But what I'm saying is, if you're not hitting all the points, if you're not paying attention to what people are saying to you, okay, and when you're not setting these appointments for close to now, and you're not getting them confirmed, well, then your issue rate is going to be very, very low, even if you have a small amount of appointments. Okay, rebuttals and whatnot, all that stuff doesn't matter to that. We're getting into all these grocery stores, guys. We have a significant amount of these coming up, and it's not going to slow down either. It's not going to slow down. As a matter of fact, it's only going to get crazier and crazier in a positive way. You know, we have one day in February, I think it's the 27th, where we have a Carnes Day, and it's going to be crazy. We have 6 Carnes going at one time, 6 at one time. Okay, we have from now till then media attention on it every single day. The news is going to be talking about it every single day. So there's going to be significant attention on it. All right. And it's going to be 6 at one time. Our goal is 120 set appointments on that day, on one day. Okay. The way that we hit that goal is by rebuttaling, is by handling objections and whatnot. Okay. And looking for those good quality appointments. But rebuttaling is important to what we do. And transitions are important to what we do. So I want you to think about the last couple of events that you were at. Think about the last event that you were at, okay? Get rid of for a second, think about it. Get rid of every excuse that you could possibly come up with. There's not a lot of people there. People just weren't interested. Well, we've been there a lot of times, and so people have seen us there before. Get rid of all of that real quick, okay? And I want you to truly think about it for a second. What was your problem there? How many rebuttals did you lay on each person that you had a conversation with? You had a conversation with somebody. How many rebuttals did you lay out for that person whenever you were talking to them? I want you to really, really think about this strongly for a second, okay? And then I want you to think too, what is if you did not lay a lot of rebuttals out there, okay? Which I can almost guarantee you that nearly every person, the very least, okay, did not lay out rebuttals in the way that they could have, or else we would have more set appointments, and we'd have a significant amount more set appointments. So again, I want you to think about it real quick. How many rebuttals did you lay out? And if you're not laying out rebuttals to the customer, what is the problem? What is the issue? Think about that for a second. Unmute yourself and go ahead and answer. What problem? And look, be open with your issues. Like, this is not going to get better if we're just like, no, I think what I'm doing is fine and this and that. If we're not rebuttaling significantly, again, 2, 3, 4 times, depending on the conversation, why? What's wrong?
I had a guy today that had 30-year-old Andersons,
Mhm.
and he professed there's not a damn thing wrong with him. He put him in himself. He had him wrapped really good, and I hit him with a rebuttal. There's a good chance that some of your windows might be costing more than others. One way to determine which ones would just be energy test them. It only takes a few minutes, and you know exactly where you stand. I was like, but, and then I tried going into the end caps and asking him questions about that. And he said he had took the T111 and it was like jargon I really didn't understand. And then I kind of got lost, and he had total control of the conversation, and I didn't know how to pull back into it. We ended up talking about him being a woodworking, going through pictures on his phone, and then I tried putting him back in the sweep. And he's like, why? I don't understand. He's like, my windows are fine. There ain't nothing wrong with them. And
so the couple things I want to point out there, John, just from what you said already real quick,
Okay.
is I think you and I think this is a problem for everybody on this call, and then some, maybe not Allison as much as everybody else, is you get too far in the weeds with these customers, man. Like, it's not, I hear some of these window problem conversations and shit that go on, end caps and so on and so forth. Most people, even if they're woodworking, whatever, they're not going to pay attention to things like that. They're definitely not going to admit things like that a lot of times too. You know, so if they're leading off with my windows are fine and this and that, then I would say that getting into the weeds with them is probably not a good thing, because you're not in front of the house. You can't point out problems that exist. There's a reason, though, why we see a lot of these events agents that are starting out that have no information at all about the windows. Okay. I was actually it was funny. Andrew, you remember this. We were sitting in training. It was when Kiera was training. I didn't train. Jess was training with her. I just did the window problems part. But I realized she wasn't taking any notes. So I made it like super quick. And I'm like, you know what? if she's not going to take notes, what's the point? There's no way to remember this stuff. So she literally knows nothing about Windows right now, but she's going out there and getting a lot of appointments and having them demo too, because of a lack of information. I would suggest not getting into the weeds with customers so much. Number one, because you're going to hand that for two reasons. Number one, most customers are not going to know what you're talking about anyways, and you can't show them physically because you're not at their house. Okay. Number one. Number two, so keep it pretty basic. Number two, if that happens to be the person that understands what they're talking about and you try to get into the weeds with them, there's a good chance that you get beat up for knowledge from that person. And you're not in front of the house, so you can't point out the issues. I would keep it basic. It doesn't need to be complicated. We're going to come out and check the windows for problems. We're going to come out and test the windows for problems. And past that point, it sounds like at some point you let that customer go. There's probably not much you can do about that specific person, right?
Yeah, after we come out of it, and I tried putting him back into the sweep, and then he had a picture of his house, and I tried informing him of the size of them, and letting him know that we do custom windows, and how did I forget exactly how I tried putting him back into it. But I hit him with the value after that, but he was just not, no, I don't have any issues, and I definitely lost that battle.
Yeah, I think number one, don't over fixate on one customer too much, right? But number two, definitely getting into the weeds with the customer is a big thing, especially with events that I've realized of giving out too much information. So if you can eliminate a lot of what you're doing when it comes to getting too much information to the customer, there's got to be a little bit of mystery there. With somebody like that, the best way to get them to bite, which it sounds like you tried, but it might be better before you give them a lot of information, is, look, we're just going to come out and check them. We're just going to come out and see. That's sort of our purpose here. You're a previous Andersen customer. That's great. We love speaking with previous Andersen customers. You got 30-year-old Andersen windows, sir, that are good. We want to see that. That's a badge for us to carry. We'd like to come out. We'd like permission to come out to check those windows for you, to test the energy efficiency on those windows, to see if we can find any issues with them. And of course, we'll leave you with a quote while we're out there, but really it will just be cool for us to see essentially an Andersen relic. That's the avenue I go with that. I would not give that person too much information, and that goes for anybody out there too. I mean, figure, when are we at our best when it comes to writing leads? We're at our best when it comes to writing leads at grocery stores and donation collections. Part of that is because the customer is coming to us to an extent. Okay, so we don't have to go get the customer. Okay. But let's break that down real quick, because again, those customers are not window customers that are coming to us. They're people that are donating food, right? They have nothing to do with windows. When they start out, they have nothing at all to do with windows. So it's not that it's easier to get the suite maybe, but when it comes to the appointment, there's really no reason why that should be easier, except for two reasons. Number one, it's simple. It's so simplistic. Okay. I don't hear a lot of people getting into the weeds with customers at grocery stores because it's an automatic system. It's bang, 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 bang. The person is set. It doesn't require a whole lot of work. It's just boom, 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 right? And I think that, let's see, I was at the last grocery store that I heard people pitch at was either Grocery Outlet or Nell's, okay? In which I saw Seth pitch, I saw Mo pitch, I believe I saw you pitch, Cole. At least each of these people I saw pitch one customer, okay? At least fully through and whatnot. And what I notice is that I don't see a lot of information being given out. It's, hey, we're going to come out and check this stuff for you. We're going to check it out right into your close and then set appointment, right? So I think that that's the best avenue to go everywhere. Is not a ton of information, okay? Unless even if they're asking questions, that's a great question for our foreman. All right, straight to set, and try to go for as soon as possible. Try to get that thing confirmed right there. Okay, that's what I would suggest. Less information can be more. Make sense? Okay. So guys, then that's one customer. Those customers do pop up everywhere. I'm just taking some notes here too. Okay, but again, when it comes to rebuttaling people, okay, or the lack of rebuttals for a lot of people, what's the issue here? Do we just are we confused on are we uncomfortable with it? Are we confused on not knowing the rebuttals as well as we used to? What is different there? Because I do see a lot less rebuttals. Again, it's not like we see the leads going up and the lead quality going down. We see the leads stagnate sort of at a general decent level, and we see the lead quality dropping significantly. So what do we think? Okay, well, why do we think that some of this is coming up? Why do we think this is happening?
Mainly just being rusty on the rebuttals and everything. I just got the script back from Carson the other day, so I've been kind of going through, just kind of taking a look at it every couple of days, trying to get back with it. And I think for most people, we've definitely been lazy since we started doing events. So I think that's definitely the biggest issue. Just getting back to where we were, actually taking the time to do that.
Yeah, I
Look
think you're
over
right. I
everything.
mean, when you got to figure what is the other similar or difference between someone that just starts here in events and someone that's been here for a while is just like with canvassing is them focusing on the script, right? They're learning it and then getting directly out there. Just like we did whenever we made the switch to doing events, we learned this stuff. We went back, we studied. We had so many training sessions, guys, during canvassing just to keep us busy that I think that helped us transition extremely well to events. My suggestion would be this, because I hear a lot of people say too, every couple of days they look at the script. You're not the only, trust me, I've had a lot of people say that recently. We're doing the role playing every day. My suggestion is instead of doing that, take a good 3 or 4 hours to sit down and do it one day. Get it done. Get yourself to know it again perfectly, right? And then maybe look at it every couple of days. But I think that if you're just spot checking, reading over every little bit, which a lot of people are doing, then it's just not going to get you to where you want to be at. Get the knowledge in your brain, stuck in your brain. Make sense?
So last night I'm sitting in my car because it's cold outside. I'm smoking a cigarette and I'm thinking, and I'm going in my head over the canvassing script, like as I would approach somebody's house, trying to see how much I've retained, working through it. And when I got to the point of where we're developing the need and the urgency before we hit the value, it dawned on me on how much I don't really utilize that information when I'm talking to the people now. It's kind of like I bum rush them, I get them into that, I got a little bit of problems, and then I kind of like bulldoze into the value, But things that stuck out to me were the loss of money that I probably need to point out.
The fear of mold in their windows.
Well,
I
the structural issues, the convenience, you know what I mean, the comfortability. I started thinking about what would really set the need and the urgency with people. All right. And so I come back in and I got back on the calls and I couldn't wait to talk to somebody. And the person I talked to, I ended up setting them because I took a lot of time in developing that need and urgency. And I wanted to be able to utilize that again today. And I did. But I realized the development of the need and urgency is utmost importance because that's what makes the appointment stick. That's what makes the easiness of going into getting the appointment done and set, and then following through and with everything else. It's just a natural process. It's the system.
So what do you think makes what do you think makes these people that are starting on events that don't have any of that information and so good at what they're doing right now? A lot of times at lesser quality events, because they're starting out, we put them at some slower stuff first and whatnot. What do you think makes them so much better right now when it comes to setting and stuff like that? Because a lot of them don't have that information to be able to go out and do that, right?
Could definitely be an attitude difference too. They're definitely new. They're excited to get out there.
Mhm.
We have been at it for a little while.
Yeah.
So I don't know if we can necessarily say we're all excited to get out there, unfortunately.
Yeah, I think that that's a good point. I think also too, then we have to look at ourselves and go, okay, well then who deserves more? The people that are going out there and are excited about it and stuff like that and are going out there and doing it and succeeding more, or the people that are not, right? And then we got to find a way to renew that excitement in some way, shape, or form. It gets old, yes, but also too, I think that we succeed with deeper meaning. So it's also finding me out there. But I look at again, I hate going back to it, but she is the newest person here in the event side of things. Kira's been out for a week because she has COVID, but has 18 set appointments. Yeah, 7 have gone through so far, but it looks like there's another 6 that are in flux that should go through at some point in time or cancel. Let's say 50% of those go through. It's 10 out of 18. Not bad for starting out first couple weeks, right? Okay. In addition, all right, Allison has not worked a ton, compared to some people, but has out of 11 sets, 7 go through so far. Okay, has a couple in there. Again, that puts her in like fourth place amongst our people on our team. Okay. So, I mean, I do think that you're right, Cole. Excitement is a big part of it. But I also think not overthinking things is another big part of it too. Not worrying about every little thing, I think that we need to learn how to not dictate problems to customers and how to ask questions better. I mean, it's not the majority of people will give us the information if we ask them the right way and if we ask them the proper information. When it comes to somebody setting an appointment and sticking with that appointment, you got to think from a customer perspective, especially when we're not in front of their house and we can't point the problems out. Getting them to admit the problems, getting them to admit what's giving them issue is what's going to make an appointment more solid than anything else. It's their idea, essentially. So I think that getting better at asking those questions too is something that's going to help out. And the other thing I noticed too is that since we stopped calling in, most of the average set appointment is out about 3 to 4 days now versus 2 to 3 days, right? And that's for everybody. Okay. Closer to the 4-day average, by the way, too. It's like 3.8 or something like that versus 2.8. That 1 day gives us a significant difference. I have no doubt in my mind when I look at some people's number of leads set in a confirmation window a month ago versus now, some people are avoiding the next day appointments so that they don't have to call into the call center or send their lead over to the group chat. There's no other answer for it. Nobody on this call, by the way, but some people are definitely literally avoiding setting a next day appointment so they don't have to either call it into the call center or send it over to the group chat. Okay. It's weird. It's a weird thing. I don't know why that strikes so much fear in people, but when it comes to this new thing that we're doing with confirmation, like with yours, John, it worked pretty well today, right? I said 1 second.
Dude, I was uber excited to get that through because I was just counseling Kyle on the same thing because he set one for the next day, but he didn't go. He actually called the call center and he had a hard time with it because not only did he set the appointment and then calls it in and then they set the same appointment over of something he already did. It wasted a lot of his time, the customer's time. And I was like, Kyle, just send it to the text. And when I was able to demonstrate that to him, it made me feel a lot better how smoothly that shit went, man.
Yeah. And I listen, what pisses me off about it is that I shouldn't have to get that. Honestly, I was grabbing food, right? So I'm literally grabbing food and I'm leaving, right? I was in the middle of leaving that place. That's why I said just 1 second. But even with that, at least you have the comfort of knowing, okay, he's going to call this in a couple seconds. And as soon as I got out of the wind, I called that right away. There's 6 other people at the office that should be called that, but I don't mind doing it neither. And it's quick and efficient and quick and efficient, not quick and inefficient, quick and efficient. And it's easy to do. So that's the other thing too, is a lot of people aren't utilizing that system. What kind of problems do we have or questions do we have about that system?
I think for me, like doing a next day makes me nervous because I've seen, for example, like the other day at the grocery outlet with, I think it was Cole and Seth, where like it took extremely long and you can just tell like the customers were just, I mean, they were really nice about it, but I still wouldn't want somebody standing there for 5-6 minutes because I feel like that's a gap that could like make them cancel. Well,
for sure, but they cancel anyways. I mean, at almost a 90% rate when they're not set within the next day within the confirmation window. Mm-hmm. So I mean, I don't know about that specific scenario. Was that the scenario with your lead, Mo? Or what scenario was that? Were we calling into the call center with that?
Yeah, we were.
Yeah,
calling
that was actually that was a
Phil.
call in that Phil didn't text the one. So that's the method that Paul about that you just send it over to this select group that is able to confirm it right away. And so you saw the worst of what we've been trying to get through, which if we're at the 24 to 48 hour window, right to that group of confirmers, and then it's confirmed immediately. Yeah. So yes, the way exactly just Seth just said, the way that the system is supposed to work, Allison, what you saw is one of our guys fucking it up then, right? That's the problem. So what's supposed to happen is if you set that next day appointment or the 2-day out appointment, okay, 48-hour window appointment, all you do is, so you get down to the part where you say, okay, so we need all owners home for the appointment, so on and so forth. Okay, you make sure you got all the information, and then you say, I'm going to send this over to a confirmer now. Okay, it's so much quicker than calling into the call center because that's where we're headed is calling into the call center for everything because we can't track these appointments enough.
So then you take a picture of it, you send it over to this group chat that has myself and a handful of other people in it. Okay. Usually, again, even though it shouldn't be this way, usually I'll text first and say, got it. Okay. And then I'll call that person right away. Right. With Moe's, nobody got to it, which was a problem. But even still, I got to it as soon as I could. And the lady seemed really, really happy with the situation and whatnot. She was in her car, so she was in a nice warm car. They weren't standing out in the cold, and they could walk away because I'm on the phone with her on her cell phone. Right. So that's the benefit. So I'll call the customer from their cell phone and I'll confirm it with them right there on the phone. And then it doesn't have to be called again or messed with again at all. It's confirmed in the system. You don't have to have the 8-minute call with the call center. It's just me on the phone with the customer for 30 seconds to 1 minute tops, confirming the address that both of them will be there in 90 minutes. And that's it. I keep it very brief with them. And so far it's panned out pretty well in terms of cancellation rate and set rate. Go ahead, Mo. What were you going to say?
I forgot to mention something about that. Right after you confirmed the lead, Josh from the call center sent me a text saying that I should have called that into the office because they have a full working staff now, I guess from
I talked
9 to 5 or
to
10
Don
to 5.
about it. We're not doing that. Until they can get their shit together, we're not calling into them. They can screw up.
Okay, just
I'll
making
make
sure.
Yeah, if I don't care if I have to call every single one of them. I don't care if that's all I do all day. We're not doing that. Until they can stop staying on the phone for 8 minutes and get it through their dumbass heads, then it's just not what we're gonna do. I don't care what they want us to do. I'm sick of it. I'm done with it. I'm done with their bullshit. We'll do it this way because it's easier. It's easier for us and it gets your shit done quicker. Just because Josh doesn't feel, and listen, not your fault at all. Josh doesn't want to work on the weekends. He's got a cush job where he can set 172 leads a month because they're hand fed to him. I'm looking at the call center numbers right now. That's why I said 172. They're hand fed to him. And he doesn't want to work any hour outside of his 40 hours. But I talked to Phil in the call center. I talked to Brittany, and they're down to do it this way. So we'll get it done.
All right, thank you.
I'm glad you brought that up because I know the issues with them, and if only you guys could see the fights and shit that I've gone through with some of these people, it's absolutely outrageous. But it's and you know, look, I don't know, just it's very frustrating because I know I don't think they understand what it's like to be out there and to be waiting for them to do what they need to do. I don't think they understand the frustration of that and the difficulty of that. So I'll continue fighting the fight with them. This is the easiest way to do it. It's the most effective way to do it from what I see, right? From my eyes. What you did that day, Mo, what John, you did, and other people have too, but those are the two most recent ones that I can think of that we're talking about right now. It was quick, it was efficient and effective from what it seemed anyways, right?
Yeah, and there is a little bit of laughs, but Allison, we're designed, I was able to build enough need and want of that I had no fear how long it took, because I have a good knack with talking with people, as we all do, because we always talk with people. And so it's just up to me to entertain that customer or get some more insight on them, in the interim while you're waiting for that call to come in, give them the VIP card, appointment calendar, stuff like that, and just make a simple convo. And so
I'll say this though, John, it's a lot easier to say when you're inside of a store instead of outside a grocery outlet in the wind. And
I guarantee it. That is true. I mean, with the circumstances, while you're waiting in the cold and they're impatient, holding like 7 bags of groceries.
A lot of older people. Yeah, it should be a quick and easy system for you guys. It shouldn't take a long time, and that's the bottom line. It shouldn't take a long time. But look, if we don't do our part, then the system's never going to work. We're never going to be able to figure this out ever. And again, the ultimate thing that's gonna happen is it's gonna be, okay, well, let's just call into the call center. Look, the call center is there 6 days a week now. They're there every day except for Sunday. So if we can't fix our issue when it comes to cancellation rate and issue rate, demo rate, then the only solution, not as a punishment, but as a fact, because we've seen the success with it, is to call back into the call center. That's the only solution, is to call our leads back into the call center. Go ahead, Allison.
They have actually had people in there on Sunday. So when I did my sit-in yesterday on Tuesday, they've said that they've had a couple people in there from, like, the hours vary though. I know they said like 9 to 1, 10 to 5.
Okay, cool.
So they said that they've been having like a couple people in there on Sundays also.
All right, cool. So we could even do that too. And that's the thing is I'm totally cool with us calling into the call center too. Absolutely. The only reason why I came up with a way to circumvent that was because of people understandably complaining about it. Right? I mean, like I would not want to call in and sit there for 8 minutes with a customer neither at an event. It's different when you're at the door. Absolutely. But if we can't fix our demo rate and issue rate, guys, then that's something that's going to happen because we know what happens when we call in. Some leads might fall off. Some customers might get pissed. Our lead quality shoots up significantly. You know, we do know that, right? And again, our lead amount doesn't need to go down. You look at this time frame, which we were calling in every lead to the call center. Our lead amount didn't go down because of that. You know, maybe a couple fell off because of low quality or whatever, but the majority of them stayed on, right? It's just up to us to figure out the kinks in the system and whatnot. The biggest kink being we have to do it, and we have to get really, really good at going for next day appointments. Look, we have tomorrow at 10 o'clock and 2 o'clock available. What's better for you? You know, and this is going to get even more important with our schedule coming up. When you look at the shit we have going on, like if you weren't excited before, I understand going to, Green Dragon, Ace Dolphin, Ace 29, Ace Dolphin, Green, I mean, I get that, but with the schedule that we have coming up here, where the large majority of us are on grocery stores for 3 to 4 days a week next week, and it's going to look pretty much the same after that, okay? And we got a bunch of other stuff coming up too, again, the cards thing, stuff like that. The two things that I can't drive home enough is A, we should be setting goals that are much higher than we've had over the last couple of weeks, and B, part of that goal should be to have a minimum 50% issue and demo rate. Okay. Together, I mean, 50% of our shit should demo all of the time. Does that make sense? Okay. So whatever we got to do to drive that, guys, we just need open and clear communication. And we need to be checking on that on a daily basis, but it's a team effort in this way. I'm not going to notice if one person doesn't send over one lead. Okay. We really, really need participation in this. I'm going to make sure that when we're at the grocery stores and stuff like that, my phone will be I don't care if I have to tape it to the front of my eyes. Okay. It'll be right on my face all day, waiting for those text messages, and I'll get to them right away. Okay. And I'm also going to go through with Andrew how to confirm, and he's going to do the same exact thing. Okay. Both of us will be on it. So if I'm on one, then he'll be, because we should be at a significant amount of leads. This time next week, we should be talking about how everybody's at 5 to 10 demos for the week. Okay. Based on the amount of production that we should have come out of these places. Like this is what we've been asking for the last 3 or 4 months, at least. Maybe not the last 6 or 10, right? We've been asking for different things to canvas and shit like that. But for at least the last 3 or 4 months, this is what we've been looking for, is a way to get out of, the monotony of calling and to get into a situation where we can be back to like the Carnes environment where we can be setting a lot of appointments, right? But it's all about what we do. It's all about what we do. And here's the deal. We have to move past, look, I think it's great what I see people do when they're out there, where they're like, hey, okay, it's your turn to set a lead and this and that. I'll tell you what, midday, I'm going to be deciding who's not writing leads for that day. Because I'll tell you what, if I got this guy's at 10 and this girl's at 10 and this guy's at 1, okay, because he didn't set anything, that guy that's at 1, I don't want them pitching any more customers. It doesn't make any sense. I want the most leads. I don't care about socializing our production. You know what I'm saying? Actually, I do care about socializing our production, but the keyword there is production, right? And if someone's not producing anything because they're having a tough time out there, we need to focus on retraining for the next day. We don't need to focus on dumping. I'm a big sports fan, right? Raise your little yellow hands if you're a big sports fan here. Right. Okay. So a lot of people Mo's raising his hand at least. Seth, you're kind of a sports fan, right? I mean, at least fantasy football you did pretty well with. Right? I mean, it doesn't need to be like team sports neither. I know you might not be a team sport guy, but there's got to be something you like. Allison, you got to like some sport. Did you ever play a sport in high school or anything like that?
I ran track.
Okay, cool. Track, that sounds good, right? So, Cole, you got to like a sport, dude?
Eating is a sport.
Eating
Yeah,
pasta.
yeah.
I didn't
If
want to be the
eating,
guy.
if eating's a sport, I'm in.
I didn't want to be the guy who said it, but Mo did. Andrew, you like some sports too. At least you generally about football when I talk to you about it on Mondays. So there's a little bit of that. My daughter's freaking out upstairs. She's been going off since I got home. Oh my God, what's wrong with that kid? She must have had a rough day at school today or something. The reference I like to use, guys, is if you go like this, right? So the other day, for football, for example, Patrick Mahomes got injured and Chad Henne had to come in, right, for him. And the Browns still lost the game, which was surprising, but they lost the game. But what if Andy Reid mid-game was like, we need a socialized production here. Let's just put Chad Henne in the game because we need him to get some carries too, some throws too. So let's just throw him in the game. What if like you're running track in high school and you're in like a major competition and we're like, well, this person is the slowest person on the team, but we need a socialized production here. So we're just going to put the slowest person up there and they're going to go for it. Right. Okay. What if I can only eat 2 hot dogs in a matter of 7 minutes or something like that? And they're like, well, you know what? We got to give him a chance. So let's just throw him in there. It doesn't work that competition sports, team sports and non-team sports don't work that way. You don't go, oh, well, this guy, he's 8th in the heavyweight class for boxing, but he deserves a championship shot because everybody else already tried. So let's just throw him in there. It's just not the way it works. Just not the way it works, So I'm not saying that we're going to brutally, like midday, go, hey, you're not working here anymore, this and that. But we need to focus on production, definitely. And if it's a conversation about, hey, today did not go well, we need to focus on training tonight because you got another shift at a grocery store tomorrow, that has to be something that we open ourselves out to. We're not just going to midday go, hey, go home, but we have to figure out how we can maximize production from these places. And part of that has to be us focusing on, okay, how do we get everybody to the place where they can produce to a significant level? Now, everybody on this call, I have no doubt in my mind, especially watching the last couple of days and how it sort of bore out at like grocery stores and whatnot. Everybody that was there, for the most part, participated and produced, right? Things were broken up pretty well, and that was pretty good. So I have no doubt. I don't think this is going to become an issue. What will become an issue is it all starts right now. If we get off this call, for example, and nobody role plays and nobody studies this script or whatever, and tomorrow they go to the grocery store and they do poorly and they don't have any response to it whatsoever, no training, no study, no nothing, and then they go the next day, then at that point you're intentionally screwing up at that point. You're Dwayne Haskins getting a second chance and not taking it. Some people don't know that reference. Most people probably don't understand that reference, but you get it if you look him up. He's the guy who got kicked off his team for going to a strip club in the middle of COVID. So you're doing that if you don't do something to stimulate your production, right? So we got to understand that, guys. How do we go at this? Okay, what kind of issues do we anticipate running into out there? All right. Well, I'm gonna throw up a couple ideas, and then I want you guys to give me input on other issues that you anticipate potentially coming up out there and how we as a team should handle them. The things I point out are the things that I already pointed out. Number one, I think the issue is that if one person is not participating out of 2 or 3 people at a grocery store, meaning that there's people that are passing by without getting those flyers. There's people that are walking by and they're not being told, hey, donation, this and that. Then that's going to be one thing that kills us, because we're definitely going to get less donations. We know if we don't tell people about it, they don't understand what's going on. They try to avoid us at that point because they think that they're selling windows. Okay. So that's the first thing. Okay. The second thing that happens, all right, that could kill us is if we're taking donations next to the door. We should be having the person walk over to us to give us the donations. Okay. We should try to separate ourselves from the door a little bit at least. Okay. That not far, but a couple feet. Okay. That way they have to bring the donations over to us and we're in our environment. Okay. I said this to Jones the other day. If you're more comfortable pitching somebody separately, bring them to a separate area around the table or whatever. And let's not pile on top. If someone's talking to someone, leave them the hell alone. Leave them the hell alone. Don't listen to their pitch and try to give advice midday. It's hectic. It scares the hell out of people and it makes them produce less. Okay. It's not good after every time someone pitches to say, hey, you could have done this differently. Hey, you could have done that. No. No, let's recognize that we got to focus on ourselves. Okay, let's try to keep advice to a relative minimum. Okay, until maybe the end of the day or break or something like that, unless something is egregious or is going to put the company in a bad position. Okay, so let's keep that to a minimum. All right, walk out to the customers if you can. If you're at a place like Nell's is a good example, you can separate yourself a little bit. It's not like it's a super busy parking lot. Now, grocery outlet's a little bit different because the way that it operates, you sort of if you walk out to that parking lot, there's a lot of other stores there, okay, that are busier than even that store. So you're in a little bit more of a main road if you walk out there, but there's a larger sidewalk than there is at Nell's too. So go out and meet the people and give them that flyer, show them the flyer. If they're older, they're not comfortable taking it, or they're visibly not comfortable, just kind of like show it to them. Okay, let them know what we're doing and let them on their way. When somebody comes out, have them bring the door. Even if they listen, even if you're in front of the door for some reason, so, oh yeah, I'll take that right over here. Grab the bag from them and then have them come with you. Motion to them, hey, come on over. I'll take that right over here. Okay, I got something for you too. Okay. The next thing is don't give people a choice about the sweepstake. Okay, because I still see some people, mainly in Altoona, from what I've seen, but doing that whole thing where they're saying, hey, we could enter you to win $30,000 worth of windows and doors. Are you interested? Stuff like that. That's a no-no. That's not what you want to do. Okay. Number one, we'll give out a $100 gift card at each of these grocery stores for that one weekend. So anytime that they enter to do the sweepstakes for windows, they also do that as well. Okay. So they also do that as well. Gift card for the grocery store, $100 gift card. All right. Which we'll get as soon as we get to the store. I'll just cash app someone like I did last week and then grab a gift card. I think I cash app Umo to grab the gift card. Might have been somebody else. And we'll just do it that way. Okay. Makes the most sense. It's easy to do. And people like that kind of stuff too. But don't make that your pitch point, guys. $30,000 comes first because you're talking mainly about windows. Okay. That's just an added bonus to get those people in there to just stimulate their the chances of getting them to give you more information. Okay. But transition strongly. Okay. So it would be, thank you so much for your donation. Because you donated today, I'm going to enter you to win our $30,000 windows and doors. What's your name? Okay. Very simple. All right. Just takes a second. What's your name? You can say something like that too.
Very effective too.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think now there might be like slightly different ways that is the most effective way I've seen to do it. It's just simple. It's to the point. Most people will sign up. Most people will say, okay, and they'll just go with it. Right. But you got to have the pen and paper in your hand. That's the key. That's the key, right? If you don't have that in your hand, you're not ready to write down their name right away, then that's it. You're done. You got to have it in your hand ready to write down. Okay. Then, well, for the problems with the windows, I see a lot of this, especially in Altoona, but I see a lot of this. I think it was Cole. I was working with you the other day. I brought this up too. Don't have them sign right away, or don't tell them about signing. Just go straight into window problems right away. Have that conversation as if it's part of the sweepstake. Okay. That needs to be part of the sweepstake for two reasons, guys. Number one, because you're not telling them, hey, we're done with the sweepstake part. But number two, also important, is it makes for more solid callbacks too. Even if you don't get the lead, you want that to be as solid as possible because you guys get paid on that as a demo. Okay. The events people get paid on that as a sweeps demo. You get paid on that as a full demo. Okay. If it's a callback or a sweepstake that demos, there's a difference there. Okay. And that's why, and that's one of the benefits of being sort of on the canvassing side of things. One of the decisions that was made because of the way the pay structure worked in canvassing. Okay. So you benefit from that. And Allison, you sort of kind of fell into benefiting from that too. Remember that. I don't think you know that until right now. So it's a good thing, but you do benefit from that as well. So try to make those as solid as possible too. And finally, the thing I point out is rebuttal and transition effectively. You don't get to argue with the customers, guys. Rebuttaling should not be arguing. Have a constructive conversation with them, but make sure that you give them all the necessary information before you leave. That's all it's about. It's not about arguing back and forth with them. It's about giving them the necessary information before you leave, before they leave, so that way they can feel good about their decision to either get a quote or not, right? All right, finally, solidifying, of course, both people are going to be there. We're going to call this we're going to not call this to confirm, but whenever I say that, I'm referencing us calling the person in front of you. Okay, we're going to send this in to confirm. All right, And we're going to go for that next day or 48-hour appointment. All right. Those are the things that I can see, but I wanted to hear from you guys as well. Is there any additional things that we need to do? And again, I'm going to write this out, but I hope that you guys write that down to those things. As much as you might think you know that, okay, I don't care. There's steps being missed. And we all know this, and it's up to us to fix it as a team, right? What other steps do we think that we need to take in there that might be being missed? What do you think? And then I got one more thing after that. Go ahead.
I think the 3 requirements is really the basis of our system. 90 minutes, both parties, and a need. You have to have all 3 in order for the appointment to work.
Agreed. There's other stuff there, guys. I mean, I can think of one right now that I'll bring up in a second, but I want to open up. There's definitely others. Think about you at the grocery stores. What are some other things that, even if it's not you, that you've seen other people struggle with? I'll give you another one. Think though while I'm giving you this. Preparation. I was cold as motherfucker at Nels. I was so cold at Nels. That was awful. I didn't prepare myself at all for that. I bought socks for these guys because it was so cold out and I couldn't find hand warmers. Preparation, guys, is super important. Make yourself as comfortable as possible. Because you're going to operate so much better and so much more excited than if you prepare for the day and whatever the temperature is going to be and whatnot. So preparation is extremely important. And Cole said it earlier. Be as excited as someone that's stepping out there for the first time. Okay. Not as nervous, but as excited as someone that's stepping out there for the first time. Right. Make it important. Every shift needs to be important to you. You know, look, it's just this idea of growth again is every shift needs to be equally important to you. No matter how you're feeling, make it important. Find a reason to make it important. Right. What else? I got another. Don't get in a car accident on the way there. It's very important, right? I mean, you got to make it to the event in order to be able to succeed. Don't get in a car accident on your way to the event. Make sure of that.
Did that happen?
No. But I don't want it to neither, right? I mean, like that's,
That's like a no shit, bro.
Preventative maintenance.
Yep, exactly. Yep, absolutely. I'll say this too. Preventative maintenance, I think, is important words in a lot of different ways that you might not realize too, guys. Make yourself feel good. Like get sleep the night before. If you got a 7 o'clock shift, get sleep. And look, I'm a hypocrite when I talk about this. Absolutely, fully understand that. Okay. But do whatever you need to do to get yourself ready for the day. Whether it's coffee or cocaine. I'm just kidding about the cocaine thing, but coffee or eat, get something good to eat in the morning. Get that haircut or whatever you need to do. Paint your damn nails. I know Mo, you're into that a lot. Make sure that you do that. Okay. That's, by the way, Allison, I wasn't talking to you when I said that. I was definitely talking to Mo. That's who I meant. My toenails are painted right now, by the way. They have been for like a month.
You said pink?
Paint. Yeah. Mo likes to do that. He does. Don't hide it anymore, Mo. It is what it is. I'll show you guys my toenails. They're beautiful. My daughter did them a while back and I never took it off. Like a while back. Like Andrew, how long ago was this? A long time ago. Right? Let me see.
You're gonna be able to bring it all the way up there?
Yes, I'm just gonna do this. Wasn't nice, right? See that?
Looks like you fucked your toe up, man.
Yeah, I mean, stuff. So
It looks like it's dead. It's about to fall off. I would never even know they were painted. I'd be like, damn, what'd you do to your toe?
man, I had to tell my daughter that you said it. That's not very nice.
That's not very fair. Don't you think your daughter's gone through enough turmoil today?
I guess so. I don't know what's going on with her yet. So what else, guys? Anything to add? Look, believe it or not, I don't like, and I know a lot of you guys don't believe this. I don't like when this becomes a me saying everything. I really don't, believe it or not. And I know that a lot of you guys don't believe that right now. And I understand, I understand the disbelief for that. Okay. But it's true. I do want input from you guys. I want us to hit every point that we need to go through. I want more than anything in the world right now for these couple weeks to be super successful. Look, we're up for that retail team of the year award for corporate. Okay. Which is crazy when you think about where we've come from. This isn't even our damn job, all but Allison. I mean, obviously, Allison, you're hired into this part of the team, but in events, but for everybody here, really, nobody expected, even Allison, nobody expected to be doing this now. Okay. But we're here, and it's a good thing we're here. It might not be everybody's favorite thing to do, but we're good at it. And we just have to remember that, guys. We have to look back at these previous months and go, wow, remember when we were at Hershey and it was like, oh my God, record day, record day, record day. Hell, remember last week at a place like Nell's, for example, when it was like, wow, record day. That can be every one of these things, but you got to accept that. You have to accept that understanding. Your attitude can't be, I think Cole might have been, someone said like, oh yeah, great, I'm at the top of the shit list the other day or something like that, because some people's numbers were down or whatever. That can't be your attitude. You're not going to succeed with that attitude, guys. Your attitude has to be, we don't need to be here in a negative way. We can be here in a positive way. We can be in a good, positive place with what we're doing. We can make a lot of money with what we're doing. Well, at least you guys can. I can't really, but we can make a lot of money with what we're doing. You got to put yourself in the right. Why self-sabotage? It makes no sense to me. That book, Life Was Never Meant to Be a Struggle. We had talked about that the other day on here, and I'm looking to see if I have a copy over here. I do. If anybody wants to borrow it. Well, I have a copy here, and it's signed by Dad, 2003. So it's not John. I found this little book, most interesting and helpful. Love, Dad, 8/28/03. So that's different. I didn't expect that. So you remember this conversation the other day, guys. I'm not going to beat it down. I just want to read this one tiny part that we read the other day. Now, if over a period of years, you've laid down several 100,000 thoughts in your subconscious to say life is a struggle, naturally you would project that from your inner feelings. Even if you weren't consciously aware of that aspect of your inner self, the thought would still lie deep within you and show up constantly in your life. Whenever a project starts to flow too well, or things become too easy, your inner self emits an energy saying, warning, warning, this is too simple. Let us self-destruct this project or relationship and come at it the hard way so we can experience the circumstances that are congruent to our inner belief that life is a struggle. So things fall apart and you feel like you're trying to push a peanut up Everest with your nose. Eventually, once you suffer the slings and arrows of outrageous fortune for a while, the inner self pulls you to a watered-down version of circumstances that would have been yours anyway weeks ago without any effort. This book helps you identify struggle, discover the reasons for it, and eliminate it. But first, let's look at the Strugglers Hall of Fame, okay? So it goes through this Strugglers Hall of Fame. The first one is the hero. Now, when you think, do you identify with any of these characters? If you say no to yourself, then you're lying to yourself, because most of us are going to identify with 2 or 3 of these characters, right? I remember Dalton always used to tell me that he did not identify with these characters. So in addition, okay, you can also think of whether or not he identifies with these characters too. If you want to play a little fun game with yourself, okay, and the people around you too. But think about yourself first. The hero, men like struggling, but so do some women. The male version goes something like this. If I bust a gut and hurdle around trying hard, people will see me as a good man and treat me with respect. Whether I get results or not matters little, as long as I'm making a valiant effort. To make sure everyone acknowledges my heroism, I'll create an entire theater of frantic action, hectic schedules, meetings, and earth-shattering importance, long hours, and constant pressure. Of course, this pantomime will make me a bit tense, but that's all part of the act. The tension will be seen by others as me taking responsibility, and they will love and respect me for that, won't they? If truth be known, the answer is no. In fact, anyone with perception will see this male as a complete idiot. His weakness, namely a lack of personal acceptance, this guy's very direct, that's why I like him, stands out a mile. He's chosen sacrifice as his fate in hope of winning affection or acknowledgement. His frantic actions only serve to underline that he is out of control and that he hasn't a clue of what he's doing. Another common struggler is the terrorist. Because this fellow is uncomfortable with himself, he finds he cannot deal with society. He was either born disadvantaged or has never been accepted, or he bears some other kind of grudge. He therefore has to operate outside of society and finds it hard. This is why Mo paints his nails. Finds it hard. Just kidding. So he struggles. All right. So finds it hard to accept help from anyone. He struggles through 101 projects that never quite come off. Even if he does make a success of a relationship or project, it seems to him a hollow victory. That what he wants is acceptance, not success. So he'll usually self-destruct his successes, then move on to struggle at something else. If the terrorist ever finds himself within the mainstream, if he gets a job in a corporation, for example, he'll find fault with the situation. He'll snare at it and attempt to change it or destroy it. Usually his actions will threaten those around him, and sooner or later he'll be tossed out. Because the terrorist has to fight the system rather than use it, he'll never get what he wants. No one supports him. If he does find someone who loves and accepts him, he disregards that support, focusing instead on all the aspects of non-recognition that are part of his life. The third type of struggle is a professional wimp. This person is so weak, so lacking in the ability to command life, that he allows everyone to lead him by the nose. It makes him angry, and he'll protest his rights from a position that he feels is logical and just, but his struggle results from a weak energy. He gets nowhere and no one cares. There's another variation of this theme called the spiritual wimp. The character has a huge ego and feels like God dropped him off on the earth so he could sit around being special. He's usually so holy that he can't soil his hands with life. He expects people to treat him like a god and to honor him anyway. Usually he struggles like crazy for people to find it hard to accept his lifestyle, and his failure threatens them. Promise is like 2 pages left. Another one common type of female archetype is the goddess. It's similar to the male. She plays a game called Please Accept Me, for I am great. I'm really a goddess, and I'm as strong as any male or stronger. To act out her pantomime, she dresses in male clothes, drives fast cars, and gets super aggressive, all to make up for a lack of confidence. And she 2 hurdles out and plays the achiever's game of her male counterpart. In truth, being a goddess is hard work. You constantly have to sustain a celestial pose. Usually others won't see you as a goddess. You expend energy in the hope of convincing them. By trying to emulate the male, the female is usually saying, I know that I'm weaker. This, of course, is not true. Most women are so much stronger than males if they would only realize it. Another female character play is called the Wilting Wallflower. It goes like this. I'm just a helpless little person. I'm weak and I don't understand life. I can't add figures or mend a fuse. My emotions are all over the parking lot. Please save me. Please look after me. That way I can sit someplace and not do much of anything. This works to a certain extent, for sooner or later, the lifesaver type will show up and assist her. The problem is that the lifesaver, be they male or another female, will only save the wallflower once or twice. Then they move on because there's nothing in it for them. As the wilting wallflower plays out her act, it gets harder and harder for her to feel any self-worth. Sooner or later, the lack of self-worth pulls her to people who will delight in manipulating her. Her spiral of struggle is self-perpetuating, for in order to get the attention she craves, she has to create more and more dramatic scenarios of helplessness. Eventually, she drifts into playing victim. You all know the type. When you meet her, she pours out a litany of disasters. There's nothing that you can do because they're not asking for help. She just wants you to commiserate. Quite often, you will want to punch her in the nose just to keep her happy. So it's an interesting book, right? It's very direct. It was written a little while ago. So, yeah, I mean, I highly suggest it. I have a couple copies, I know, if you want to borrow it. But the question becomes, what sign of struggle do you feel like you have? I don't think that those things need to be classified as gender. I've seen many guys who are, oh my God, everything sucks. This is so bad. This is so bad. I think they cross the gender boundaries there for sure. but I think all of them are accurate in some people, and all of us have to feel some of one of those at least, right? And before you want to call yourself the hero or terrorist, I've wanted to call myself that too, because those seem the coolest. Not always the case, and not because the name, by the way, too. Not because the name, because the actions. They're valiant, you know. That's the exact problem, right? How do we go out there as a team and succeed as a team and continue to move forward, guys? Recognizing that we are hopefully on the other end of what's been a really nasty year. And believe it's 6 days would have been the first day that I heard about COVID-19. Whenever Kobe Bryant died was the first day I heard of COVID-19. Let me see. So people say, oh, it's, you know, March and this and that. No, for a lot of us, it started a lot before that. For Andrew, it started like 3 years ago. He knew this happened. So January 26th. So yeah, 6 days from now will be a year since Kobe Bryant died, and B will be a year since I found out that COVID-19 was a thing. So it's been a year, a tumultuous year, but look, we're on the other end of this, hopefully. Okay. And if you smoke, then you can get the vaccine next, from what I've heard. So that's good. So y'all pick up smoking.
It's only if you put it on your medical records that you are a smoker. Like whenever you go to the doctor and they ask if you're a smoker.
I've done that quite a bit.
Yeah, but if you already had it, as in my case, then you
That's
got
true.
immunity. You got immunity.
Yeah, well, for a couple
For
months.
at least 90 days. Yeah.
So all right, guys. Does anybody have anything else? Please add anything that you want to. Okay, I really would like to hear from you on how you feel about these things. If you don't want to express it here, then call me afterwards. Okay, I'll be available.
What about confusion or unaware of the problems you're making, and B, how to fix them? If you're not aware of a problem, you don't know how to fix it.
Well, for sure. I don't fully understand what you're getting at. Do you mean like giving advice at events?
No, I mean as individuals, yeah. Like I've fallen off, man, big time. I used to easily get 8 to 10 demos a week, every week.
Well, dude, you haven't worked in like a month and a half. No offense, but I mean that's just reality, dude. Like fully, you haven't worked in like a month and a half. So I mean, again,
Sure.
I give that to you as a reason why you're experiencing that, right? You get back on for someone like you by pulling yourself back up. For someone like you, okay. Other people might need more help, and look, if you need more help, that's fine too. I think that we need to get some individual positive role playing and training done. These role playing things have been great. We're going to switch up team captains soon, later this week or probably early next week, just to kind of switch things up a little bit. And we'll switch up teams too when we do that, so everybody can kind of get with everybody. Those things have been great. I think they've been extremely helpful. But I think that A, you ask for help if you realize that you can't do something. And B, you have the tools, right? You constantly go back to those tools too.
Okay.
But I'm here. I'm totally down, John, to do some role playing and training. Absolutely, we should schedule that and do that. Absolutely, 100%. But I think also you got to give yourself a little bit more credit. I think you will snap back largely, but I don't think that it's a bad thing to do some training and role playing too.
Yeah, I mean, we used to do that shit every day, the whole ride out. You know what I mean? Every day.
Well, now we should be doing it every 2 days, right? So that's
I'm not on the team, bro.
Oh yeah, because you were out. Well, okay. Let's.
I was
put
at
you on-
events all that week, if you remember, and it was the scheduling training schedules were overlapped over my events. I was at events all those days.
Well, there's a team meeting tonight. That was I think it was Jones that lost somebody on his team from Altoona. So why don't you jump on that team for now until we remake the teams?
Because I've been at Ace this morning at 8:00. I got home at 4:45, and I've been on this meeting till now.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. That you don't have to jump on one today, but you seem to want to. So that's.
I definitely want to get onto those meetings, but I mean, I think I probably want to take a break for the rest of the night.
Well, that's fine then. That's fine. You're an interesting dude, man. Why don't you go on for the rest of the week then? Seth, when's your next thing?
It's tonight, whenever we're done here.
Okay, so we'll figure
we
out
have
what's
one.
on.
We have one Friday. We have one Friday you can hop on.
Friday?
Yeah, we have one Friday.
Okay, perfect.
We've been doing it every Monday, Wednesday, Friday.
All right, cool. Sounds good. And if there's one going tomorrow too, John, that you want to jump on, then maybe you could do both those.
If not,
But
I'll just call you and I'll pitch with you.
sounds good. I'll be available to do that absolutely. So you just let me know.
Or
And guys, for anybody, I'm totally willing to do that. Absolutely, 100%. 100% down to do that. Absolutely. And I know that anybody on the team will be too. But with me, I'll have a script in front of me, and I want to when I'm practicing script, I want to practice script. You know what I'm saying? So, all right, call me if you need me, guys, or if you just have anything to talk about. We're about to start a real big weekend here, okay? And we got a lot of great shit moving forward. Like, wait till you see next month. You gotta meditate and figure out how you get focused, guys. Focused and excited for the fact. Again, what you should be excited about, guys, is this. Almost everybody was at 8 to 10 demos at one point. Some people fallen between 5 and 7 or whatever. Some people have fallen off greatly. So fix your shit. Fix your shit. Like it's not that should motivate you enough, dude. It's such a difference in money that should motivate you enough. But meditate, figure out what you need to do. And I don't know, maybe we do like some sort of team thing that's outdoors. I'm down to go for a hike if anybody else is down to go for a hike. So maybe we do something like that. But I'm not going to go with one of you guys because I'm scared of doing one. So
last time he stood us up, so
I stood you up. Well,
remember, tell him, Seth.
Were you involved in that? You weren't involved in that. It was supposed to be me, Seth, and Dalton.
Yeah, happened.
Yeah, but you weren't even involved in that, were you?
I wonder who told him.
Yeah, if it's a hike, I'm out.
No, yeah. Well, I mean, you are pregnant, so we'll give you a little bit of an out. But come on, why not? You don't like hiking?
I mean, I guess I do. I just don't like exercising.
Well, let's do another round of paintball again.
Listen, by hiking we
I'm
mean
gonna get
like,
fucked up in paintball.
But by hiking we mean like bitch walking like half a mile. So it's not like maybe that's not what Seth means, but I know for sure that's what John means. So
Whatever, bro. When I was a kid, we had to walk from Hagerstown 40 the whole way to Harper's
No,
Ferry.
In 1954,
John, yes, I was
in
going to say.
1954, when I was a kid, I had to walk everywhere. Like what?
Yo,
John?
when you were a kid, there were T-Rexes walking around the streets. Calm down, John.
I did not
Golly.
expect that at all, John. That was good.
Harper's Ferry, West Virginia.
I heard it's
Hagerstown
beautiful
40.
there.
That's 31 miles. It took us 5 fucking days. All right. We had to do this mandatory for our school.
Well, listen, we're not going to do that.
Fuck that
We should
school.
go down to Harper's Ferry. dude.
Walking 5 days? Oh hell no! I'm out.
Well, no, we're not
Yeah,
doing
that's
that, Allison. I think you should go. I think you should go, and I think we should all bring spouses too. That would be a good thing if we want to. Nobody has to, but if you want to, let's do Harper's Ferry because I heard it's a beautiful place and I've never been there before.
It is beautiful. And the last time I was there, I did not enjoy it because I got in trouble.
Okay,
50
well,
years ago.
yeah, 50, yeah.
It was in 1995. Okay. So it was 26 years ago. All right.
1995.
I was like, dang, that was before I was born.
Yeah.
I really just thought you said 1955. I'm not even kidding.
Even I was only 6 years old then, so that's
Yeah, believe it or not, I'll be 41 this year. I'm
That's crazy.
not really excited. 9 more years, I'll be fucking 50.
yeah, that's crazy.
You and my mom are the same age. That's not bad.
Fucking crazy.
Allison, that doesn't help him. That's not.
All right, so but seriously, let's do this in Harper's Ferry. I heard they got some great restaurants down there and whatnot too. And I heard that it's a real good place. This guy that sells
Bro, they're probably under
gems or whatever.
quarantine.
As a matter of fact, you know what? The guy who sold me these Norse gypsy items, devil's items, that's the guy who what do they call them, runes? He sold me these Norse runes. That guy told me about Harper's Ferry.
I can't see him. Your big ass hands on the way.
I don't have a big ass hand, dude. I have like tiny hands. There's a whole bunch of them, dude. I don't know what they mean, but they look pretty neat. So I said, I'll grab those to support this guy. He was kind of a fucking weirdo, but
It's probably why you've been feeling sick lately. Throw them away.
Yeah.
I know that I was thinking
They're
that,
evil.
dude. I was like, this is
They're
not
evil.
a good thing right now. So
I used to be able to write in them.
yeah,
Yeah, a long time ago,
was that before you were a Christian?
obviously.
All right. Anybody got anything else to add? That's not weird. Means I should mute John then. All right.
Once I
You guys
peeped
later.
your name, the Kofifi for life, I haven't been able to stop laughing. That's why I've been having to get out the camera because it's been the like completely wrong time.
Yeah, I mentioned that earlier. Yeah, I was thinking before I get on, and I don't know, that came across my mind. I'm gonna get some T-shirts that say Kofifi on it. So
I don't get it.
when Trump tweeted out Kofifi out of nowhere, he said like the press has been really the press coverage is, well, he was meant to say coverage, I think, but he said the press has been really Kofifi. And then he tried to play it off like it was some secret word, some shit like that. Where like the press secretary stood on stage and said, a small group of people know exactly what he means.